Hey, Outdoor Gear and Skills. We just finished as a family making a bunch of bug back bags so that we can have a bag in the car to make sure we can get home or handle emergencies. I wanted your advice on anything here, things that are good, things that you say we can get rid of to lighten the load, or things that we're missing here. So, first, we grabbed some North Face Jester bags. They have that paracord on the outside that you can hang stuff to dry if you need to. And starting with kind of some of the basics, we've got compass and a mirror, and we've printed out some of our local maps and laminated them. We don't have them here for, don't want that on the old website. And then we have a tin of cotton covered in petroleum with a nice traditional fire starter. After that, we've got just some quick calories with butterscotches and honey and peanut butter. And we've got a 3-day SOS emergency. It's like the cookie stuff. And then we've got a poncho, a small poncho, and a sleeping bag poncho with our membrane straw.
I love it. I think that backpack to me looks great. I've never owned a North Face backpack, but I love the size of that backpack where it's not too big. It's big enough to carry the gear you've got in it. It looks like it's got a water bottle holder on the side, probably. I like the bungee cords on the back to be able to, remove a jacket or something or dry something like you said, keep something right there. I am a huge proponent of fire and staying warm. So I love the fire kit and I love the cotton and petroleum. That's one of my favorite go-to fire starting materials. The compass is very important, especially if you are ever having to get out of your car and walk on foot. You may not be able to walk on a freeway or a highway, so you may have to bushwhack a little bit. I love that. The lifestyle, the membrane, the water purification is very important. And to me, that's a very good use to weight ratio. Those straws don't weigh very much at all, and they can filter so much water. I love the bivy that it's the bigger, warmer. It's not that small emergency blanket where it's sometimes it doesn't do as good a job. So that's a good bivy. I really like that. The peanut butter and the hard candy give you some flavor, to give you some energy, some calories. Fantastic. Followed by those SOS. I have tried those recently. I think they taste great. They taste like a sugar cookie. They give you high density or good calories, but it feels dense. So it helps kind of keep you full. Poncho's important. We all live in most of us in rainy climates. So having that poncho is great. I think everything you've got there next to the backpack is fantastic and it's good quality. And I would keep all of that. I wouldn't get rid of anything right there.
Moving on, we've got the first aid stuff, moleskins, a bunch of different athletic tapes and medical tapes. Looks like we got about 4 or 5 of those. Some of them are more of the stretchy kind, some of them are more the band aid kind, and some are more the wrap kind. We've got the antibiotic, 2 Israeli bandages, um, the Amazon version of Dude Wipes, gauze and ABD dressings. We uh, we live close to New York, so we decided we're gonna have the radiation medication in each of our kits that you do after if there's a fallout or any situation like that. Then we've got a splint, a bunch of alcohol pads, some of the glue that's the flesh glue. It's like super glue, but for flesh. We got from our local hospital, we got sutures, tweezers, and the needles and stuff for stitches, bandages, some basic drugs, Advil, and some quick wraps. And yeah, that's most of the first aid stuff there.
First aid kit's really important. I'm a huge fan of having first aid supplies, even band-aids for minor cuts. If you cut your finger and it's bleeding and you're trying to do any type of task and it's getting in your way, that's just really annoying. So I love having like the antibiotic, some type of anti-itch, something. Moleskin's good. I have used duct tape or gaffer's tape on big hikes when I didn't have moleskin, so that's a good thing there. Some type of flushable wipe. I am a huge fan of that. One of the things I do is I'll use either Dude wipes or there's another one. And the name escapes me right now. I think it's Protect That Tush or something like that. They're individually wrapped, so it's nice just to have it. If the captain calls, as I like to say, and you have to have a conversation with the captain, or take a little pit stop and change all four tires, it's good to have wipes. It's just, especially if you've been hiking or you're getting warm or sweaty or anything, to try to avoid getting too gross. It's kind of nice to have wipes. Beyond nice, really. To me, it's essential. The radiation's not something I have thought about, but I am in the Houston area now, so that's something. Being in a much larger area, that's probably something that I should look at. The splint is the only thing maybe in there that I would think might not be terribly necessary for a back home bag, but if it fits and they don't weigh anything, so if it fits in your bag, keep it. I wouldn't, get rid of it and put it in something else. But I would say that that is a great thing to have in a bug out bag or your good first aid kit, which you probably do. Other than that, I think all of the other stuff for your first aid kit, this kit isn't so big and cumbersome or large that it doesn't fit in your bag. So the other things in there, they're all essential. You may not use these for a long time, but for me, being a 32-year mountain biker, I carry a chain breaker as a tool, and I have never had to use it myself in all of my years of riding, but I've used it with other riders who have broken a chain. So that being said, the splint and a couple things like that, it does not hurt to have them in there because you're not going to notice a weight savings by getting rid of it. And so I think it's great to have in there. Good first aid kit. I really like that. Israeli bandage, great, great thing if you get cut. You live in a wooded area. If you fall down and something happens, or any kind of injury, that's a great thing to have. I love the fact that those are so tight and sealed, meaning that they're sterile and everything's great there. So I love the first aid kit. Great job.
Finishing up, I have a few other things here. We've got a 12-ounce water bottle there for immediate hydration in the emergency, where as soon as you realize you're not driving home and you have to get back on foot or whatever, you immediately pound the 12 ounces or 16 ounces of water, depending on the family member size. And then we've got a flashlight that's a little one attached on the ring there, 50 feet of paracord, and we wove it up in the traditional electrician's knot so it can be pulled out bit by bit if we need. The water bottle bag there. Below that, we have a knife sharpener. We've got a cold steel, the medium carbon blade there, really stiff, really strong, with the front of the backpack mount in case we need to make a fire or anything. Next to that, we have a small tomahawk with the window breaker if we need to chop down any branches or bust any car windows in case a person's in an emergency or something stuck in a car. If we have this in the trunk, we can break in. And then we've got the water spigot thingies. I don't remember what those are called. And we've got our ham radios because we all did the whole ham radio thing so we can keep in contact as a family if we're in about 50 miles of each other. We've got some channels listed, and we've got a little paper that we've laminated that has the times that we'll check in with each other. Every 3 hours, we do a check on turning them on and turn them off to see if people will check in till we've made contact with everybody. And then in the center, we've got a headlamp, flashlight with 3 sets of batteries. So that's kind of our ending of the bag over here. Any other thoughts that you have, things you'd recommend, and just take it away.
I'm going to start with the headlamp. Uh, I love the redundancy having a small flashlight and a headlamp. You know, headlamps are so great for going hands free when you're doing anything. You know, sometimes you might be, if you've got to do a long trek, let's say, you know, traffic is completely shut down, whatever's happened, you're doing a long trek home. You don't want to necessarily be holding the flashlight the whole time. You know, whatever. So I love that for having a light source. I like that small one attached to your water bottle to have, you know, a low light need light source. I love that. I have not had these collapsible water bags until recently, and I'm a big fan. One thing I would say is make sure to check to see if your straw will attach to that so that you can fill that up and then take it with you and filter it as need be. Um, I love having a knife sharpener. I'm a big proponent of having a knife sharpener because knives, they don't seem like it, but they can get dull quite quickly if you have to start cutting things, if you're, you know, chopping whatever, you you need to have that, you know, the ability to sharpen that. I've said it for a lot of years, but a dull knife is like a politician. It's useless. So you've got to be able to do that. I love this Cold Steel SRK. I have had one of those for over 20 years. Uh, they used to make it in a carbon, I don't know if they called it a carbon V or a carbon 5 steel. They don't make it anymore. But I've got another one in a similar steel as this with the same sheath. This is one of my favorite overall knife designs. The handle is comfortable. It's got the finger guard, so you're not as likely to, you know, to do something and lose your grip and put your fingers across that blade. It's a 6-inch blade, so it's very, very useful, all around good. I love this knife. I have this knife in my own pack. Going on to the paracord, I love having at least 50 feet of paracord. I have not done this electrician uh, setup for it. I usually just wrap it and then, you know, do a tight cord wrap on it so I can pull it out one end. It accomplishes the same thing. So I love that. I'm not ham radio certified. I love that you are and that you have that ham radio. More importantly, I love the fact that you have preset channels and everything in place, set, ready to go. I think that, you know, that's fantastic. That could be a real weakness having a radio itself, but not knowing who your family and important other contacts, what channels they're going to be on. So that's fantastic. I'm going to save the SOG Fast Talk for last. The Sitcox key is what I've heard them called. Basically, the idea with this is that you can get water from a commercial or public building like a school or a church, something that you're going to, you know, it's going to be very difficult with needle nose pliers or some other thing. This tool pops right on and it makes it work just like turning on your garden hose. Very handy, and you can fill up that expandable water. You're going to have good water from there. So that is something that I just learned about a few years ago. And I went and bought a bunch. I threw them in all our vehicles, backpacks, all of that. I think they're fantastic. I love this SOG Fast Talk. I've got 3 of these. I've had them for many years. I throw these all the time. These handles are very sturdy. Now, this is not a camping axe, so the blade is smaller, but you're going to be able to chop some smaller stuff with it. You're going to be able to, you know, throw it and things like that. I love that spike on the back primarily as a glass breaker. And the reason I carry one of these is if you are trying to break a car window or a building window to get out, especially if you happen to be in a situation where there might be children or something involved, you can use that as a glass breaker, hit it in the top corner, bust it, and then you put that axe in and you clear the frame of all the glass, break all of that glass out. You can then retract someone from a car. You can get out of a window yourself. This is a relatively light fast hawk axe, and it is so versatile and useful. It's not, I would do it in a pinch, but I would not take this knife and try to break glass with it, to get out. I would do it if I didn't have the axe with me. But one of my primary functions and reasons to have this fast talk is that glass breaker there. You're talking about something that can break thick glass where it's not a glass punch that may not get through something, and it's just all around handy. I love this setup. There's really not anything here, that I would say. The only thing I would say when it comes to like a knife, you might be able to get away with a folding knife for a get home bag, but why push it? You've got a great knife here that is super reliable, a great design. You add the fast hawk to it, so you've got the glass breaking capability and the ability to chop a little more on small branches if necessary. You've got your paracord where you can fashion a shelter or things like that if you have to. This to me is a great setup. This is probably a better first aid kit than most people are going to put together. And you really can't go wrong having supplies, because first aid supplies tend to be light. They don't take up a lot of room. This backpack is probably under 20 pounds, which makes it great to add water and maybe add just a little bit of weight, but have that resource. I think this is a great pack. You did a great build out on this, and this is something that you confidently can get you home on a 20, 30-mile hike if necessary. So, off the top of my head, not anything that I would add, just making sure that the headlamp lamp is strong enough. You've got the extra batteries, but just making sure that you could hike through the woods if necessary with the appropriate brightness. Other than that, I think this is a great kit and you did a great job on it.
Thanks, Outdoors Gear and Skills. Our total weight on the bag is about 17.8 pounds, and it
Perfect.
cost us about $400, just under $400 to get everything top to bottom here, watching the sales and keeping things in stuff. We'll see you out there.
All right. See you out there.